Thank you all for being a part of this. Let's move on. We've got our next question over here, and this one comes from Kathy from Central Illinois, and she says, this is for the realtors. My husband and I are retired. Our son and daughter now live on Kauai. 3 years ago, when visiting, we decided to move to Hawaii from Central Illinois. After multiple trips to Oahu and much research, my background is a nurse, we decided the Big Island was where we wanted to concentrate our search for a house. I was to have been there in June, July, and now September. Well, Kathy, you may be coming in even after September. Anyway, I have every intention, she says, I have every intention to quarantine regardless of any proclamations set forth for a negative COVID test 72 hours before flying. I have places on the Big Island in waiting, like VRBO and a month-to-month furnished apartment. Is there anywhere I can go to quarantine upon arrival to the state now for the 14-day quarantine and at a reasonable rate? I've been following your site for 2 years now and was especially happy to the addition of your most informative presentations with Dylan and Scott. There you go. Shout out to Dylan and Scott. Way to go. And now soon to be Heidi. By the way, I did reach out to Dylan as a prospective realtor. Then COVID came. So term stuff. Scott, what's your advice?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many even 30-day rentals or short-term rentals that are not available here that are in zonings where you can. If you go on VRBO or Airbnb, you should be able to find plenty that you can negotiate longer leases for, month to month, or maybe 2 months worth of a rental. That would be an option. The place I'm here today is actually a minimum 30-day rental, so this would kind of fit that bill. But that's kind of your best bet, is getting into something that's you're not going to have to move after 2 weeks or something, where you're there for a month, then you can kind of extend from there. Or maybe you go 2 to 3 months. That's going to give you enough time frame to get through quarantine, start getting familiar with the island. Maybe you get into escrow at that point, potentially close within 3 months. It's going to take some time to get into that home that you're wanting to buy. So you need the time to be able to land and stay, unless you're wanting to hop around from place to place.
Yeah, thanks. A quick question from Teresa. What's considered a short-term rental, week to week, month to month? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, gang. Short-term rental is anything under a month. A month or over is not considered a short-term rental. Any objections there? Any heads? Not okay. All right, good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what the rule is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Heidi.
Actually, for Maui, it's 180 days.
Thank you, Heidi. So okay. So correction. A short-term rental on Maui is anything less than 180 days, which is what? That's 6 months. Mm-hmm. So if it's under 6 months, it's considered a short-term rental on Maui. Got it. And Scott, what's Oahu? It's 30 days, right?
It's 30 days for residential. Now the tax comes into play. So technically anything under 180 days is shorter term. So you add that transient accommodation tax onto that rental portion. But for residential zoning or apartment zoning, it's 30-day rental.
30 days. And Dylan, it's 30. Is it 30 days on the Big Island as well? What's the short-term rental?
It is, but the convoluted qualifier there is that when you say short-term rental, that's a legal term, right? A legal definition in the county code, and to qualify or to have that law apply to you as a short-term rental, it has to be a property that is fully rented out, right? So you definitely can find homes that maybe have a separate unit on it, or an upstairs downstairs separate unit, and those are not subject to that law if it's hosted, is what they call it, a hosted rental. So those can be less than 30 days, but aren't necessarily considered a short-term rental because they're not subject to the law. So it's convoluted, but it depends on how you're renting the property out, not just how long you're renting the property out, what the property situation is in terms of residency.
So the moral of my story here is give us a call or contact us, and we'll help you, because it's like it's
complicated.
It's complicated. It's really bizarre. It's shifts from island to island. Go ahead,
and we deal with this a lot. So we are the problem solvers. Reach out to us. We know how to navigate through this. We'll figure out a solution for you.
Yeah, well said. Thanks, Scott. Great one.